So, top of the morning, y'all. Hope everybody's having a great Saturday. I'm gonna try to jump on here and do this live again, but I am obviously I'm trying it new for the phone. I just real quick. I've been outside and looked kind of hot and sweaty, but get some. Let y'all see. Got some slabs on the smoker. Fix to put some wings on the other smoker, and I'm put some chicken on the flat grill. So look at them slabs of ribs. Woo. That's good eating right there. But anyway, just hope everybody's having a good Saturday. Um, we had an amazing service, I thought, last night. Appreciate Matt and Holly Hobson. They always good to have them guys come spend some time and hang out. And got to all of our men fed everybody, so got to appreciate all of our men. And they had more than enough, which I'd rather have more than enough food than never and not enough. So, and I think a few of our women went out this morning and delivered some resurrection baskets to our local nursing home, which was that was awesome. That good, and I think the nursing home ladies enjoyed all the babies more than probably in the basket. They enjoyed them young kids, Shiloh and them young ones. So, but anyway, just appreciation all of our volunteers that works hard to get out there and do them things, and so I appreciate y'all so much. Um, but I just wanted to jump on here and I just was thinking about some stuff. I thought about the what it had to be like during the time that Yeshua was telling everybody he had to leave, and he said he had to leave, and everybody just didn't get it. It was and understand that Jesus had to go in and do undoing of the of Adam. So it was tough for them, and I can imagine the challenge of that Jesus said, "Look, I'm leaving you," and they were scared. Man, you can imagine what their Saturday was like if it was that kind of a Saturday, um, but you can imagine the silence, the elephant in the room, how tough it was, um, the struggle. They were scared for their life because they had followed this guy named Yeshua, and man, they were probably in a tight spot, and they didn't understand it, although they believed in what he did. They seen the miracles that he did. I can imagine how tough it was on them, and I think about us sometimes. I think about along our journey, we have a lot of days. I feel like that our father sometimes becomes silent to us. I think that you know we don't understand a lot of things. We don't know what you know why don't he do the things he does, and why don't he answer the prayers? Why don't he do the miracles? I still will always go back to you know nearly 11 years ago when my stepdad died, Steve. I always go back to then, and that's probably the lowest time of my life during those years. But they were great times as well. I don't want to say that everything was bad then, but I'm saying lowest myself wise. Um, I think back to why the Lord didn't heal him. I went back and there was some, you know, it will always be a question there, and I think it's okay to question God. I think that it's okay to sit around and ask God why don't he do some things and but anyway, I think we find those days in our life where it's a struggle. It's silence. And silence always isn't no. I understand that. And so I just want to encourage somebody that maybe you're going through particularly a season that it's just you don't understand. Uh and it's kind of a quiet time for you, and you can't feel God. You don't know how, you ain't understanding why God ain't answering you. And I just want to encourage you today that, not all of our Father's silence is always a no. And obviously it's not always a yeah neither. But I do want to encourage you that God's faithful, and that, no matter what the outcome is, uh, you know, God isn't taken by any surprise, and he's, even when he did, even when Steve did, transition to the other side to the great cloud of witnesses, um, I think that it still was, it was tough, but there's always a peace in it. I always will question, but I always got comfort. So, do I wish he was still here? Absolutely. Um, but he is still here in the great cloud of witnesses, and that's kind of, I'm not, being silly about that, but he's not far away from here. Eternity isn't far away. Eternity is knowing who the Father is. He's just on the other side of the veil. So that's not far away. And but I just want to encourage you. Maybe you're getting the silent treatment, and maybe you're going through some struggles. Maybe you got some things going on that maybe you don't understand why. And I just had a few scriptures. I thought about one of the most popular one that's in Psalms. And Psalms 46, verse 10 says, "Be still, surrender your anxieties, and realize that I am God, your Father." I just want you to. I think sometimes you just need to be still. Quit. I think when we feel anxiety, when we feel like something is like the followers of Yeshua did. They would hide, and they would run and hide. They was getting in rooms. They was finding themselves not knowing how to react to anxiety, not knowing how to react when they felt the pressure of darkness. And I say that because fear is a spirit, and it pressures us. It pushes us. And that's what the followers were doing. They would hide in rooms. They were feared. They were feeling the spirit of fear. They were feeling the pressure of darkness. And I just want you to, sometimes you just have to surrender your anxieties to the Father. Just stop and realize that, listen, no matter what, don't allow the anxiety, the spirit of fear, darkness to pressure you. You understand that listen, he's still your Father. He's still Abba. So don't surrender to darkness. Don't surrender to the spirit of fear, but surrender your anxieties to your Father. Man, he cares and he loves you. I love this scripture. It says in Exodus 14, verse 14, it says, "The Lord will fight for you while you keep still." I know in the Western Culture Church, they've taught a horrible religion that we have to fight. We have to fight far as, how would you want to put it? Like um, spiritual fight. We have to, man, sometimes you have to dig your heels in and you have to spit, shout, and holler. That's not true. I think if we understand that man, he's got our battles. That sometimes you have to just be still and know that um, he's fighting on your behalf. And I'm not saying sometimes we don't go in our prayer closet and listen and go into prayer. Listen, I do believe that, but I'm saying sometimes we try to white knuckle it. I'm saying we think that we got to usher in, push the prayers that don't seem to easily come out. Sometimes we just have to sit in the presence of God and let Him do some of the fighting for us. Um, and Habakkuk 2:20 says, "Be quiet in His presence." Sometimes, man, we spend so much time mumbling and just ratting and raving and getting mad and just learn to sometimes be quiet in the presence of God, to be still and to relax. I'm reminded of the story that Jesus was in the bow of the boat resting, asleep, and they went down and woke him up because a storm was coming. And it was almost like Jesus got aggravated at him. But what I like about that is that Jesus made this mark that he said he only does what he sees the Father do. He only says what it says, what he says, hears what the Father says. So we know that the Father must rest, sleep, because he says he only does what the Father does. And I think that in that silence, sometimes I think in that presence, learn to rest. Learn to rest for yourself. Learn to sometimes just go away and, you know, relax, lay your head down, rest in the Lord. I've learned, I've come across some new worship music, and it's all it is like the stringing of the I don't know what kind of instrument this is. It's almost like a huge harp, and that's kind of weird. But I'm saying there's something about that sound that's peaceful, and it's actually it says that's it's resembles what David played, um, and the spirits would then be released. But I think that I play that music sometimes. I think it's very there's something about soothing in that music. It's about resting in that music. And then there's sometimes I like the opposite. I'll play. I know it sounds crazy, but I love heavy metal. I'm talking about some crazy heavy metal, and there's some peace in that too. You just have to find your place. And I, because obviously we've heard this before, but silence isn't always no, and I want to encourage you that even maybe you're facing it, but our job isn't um, to be shouting at the darkness. Our job is to glorify the light. So don't waste your time shouting at darkness. Uh, Listen, learn to get in the light. And I uh, I'm going to finish out here just in a second, but um, it says in 1 Samuel 12:16, it says, "Now then, stand still and see the uh, that the great thing the Lord is about to do before your eyes." And I think sometimes we have to do that. Sometimes we have to know that, man, God's going to respond, and whatever He responds, however He reacts to you, listen, it's going to be good for you. It's going to be great. I look back on all the questions I even still have, but there's been great outcomes in it. Even 11 years ago with my dad dying, there's been great things happen because of that. And we have to look into that and say that God knows what He's doing. So listen, God knows what He's doing. And lastly, I'm going to read this passage, and I think it's one of the great Psalms that David wrote. And it's Psalms 46. And this is what it says. Just listen to this. God, you're such a safe and powerful place to find refuge. You're a proven help in time of trouble. More than enough and always available whenever I need you. So we will never fear. And even if every structure of support were to crumble away, we will not fear even when the earth quakes and shakes. For the raging, no, it says, for we will not fear even when the earth quakes and shakes, moving mountains and casting them into the sea. For the raging roar of stormy winds and crashing waves cannot erode our faith in you. And the Psalm David wrote right there, pause in His presence. I think if you think about that as we pause, we think about the most toughest times in our lives. If you'll look back and just know the toughest times in your life, God's always showed up. He's always showed Himself to be faithful to you. Listen, even if it's now, and God's still is faithful to us. Then the next verse says, God has a a constantly flowing river whose sparkling streams bringing joy and delight in his people. His river flows right through the city of the Most High into his holy dwelling place. God is in the midst of his city, secure and never shaken. Man, that's good. At daybreak, his help will be seen with the appearing of the dawn. When the nations are in the uproar in their tottering kingdoms, God simply raises his voice. And the earth begins to distinguish before him. Here he comes, the commander, the mighty Lord of the angel army is on our side. The God of Jacob fights for us. What does that mean? The God of Jacob. That means he is relational. He is um, generational. He's faithful. So whatever you're going through, hey, even today, if it's a struggle, celebrate the goodness of God. Celebrate the faithfulness of God. I want to encourage you to do that. Listen, I love you. I hope to see you tomorrow at the Homestead Way. If not, wherever you go, be encouraged. And, it's Resurrection Sunday. Go and celebrate with people. Go celebrate with your family. Just go and celebrate the goodness of God and the faithfulness of God. Because not always his silence or no, but he still is undoing the Adam in us. I think we all find them struggles, them tough times, and so listen. I want to encourage you to keep going. Don't give up. Go celebrate. Go and be happy, man. Let your Saturday be a good day with your family. Tomorrow, let it be even a greater day. While you're doing that, hey man, we're gonna celebrate with some cooking. Yes, sir. Some good eating. Guys, I love you. Be blessed.